This is the worked example for nested loops. These are the sub-goals for evaluating a loop. Here's the problem that we want to solve. Given the following code, what is the output? Sub-goal 1 is to diagram which statements go together. In this case, we first look at the outer while loop. Since it has curly braces, it's easy to see which statements go with that loop. Sub-goal 2 is to determine the start condition. We look and see that the condition for the loop is I is less than n, so we need to know what is the value of I and n when the loop starts. In this case, I is 0 and n is 5. Sub-goal 3 is to determine the termination condition. This loop will continue as long as I is less than n, so the ending or termination condition is when I is greater than or equal to 5, which is n. For sub-goal 4, we want to trace this loop. In looking only at the outer loop, where the symbol NL is a new line, if we trace the loop, then we can see that I will be incremented by one value each time. So I is going to increment from 0 up to 5. The entire time n will remain at 5, but I will go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then it becomes 5. When I becomes 5, the loop condition is then false, and the loop will exit. Now let's look at the inner loop. We'll repeat the sub-goals for that. We want to diagram which statements go together. Again, the inner loop has curly braces, so it's easy to see what statements go with the while loop. We now want to determine what the start condition is. In this case, where j is less than m. J starts at 0 and m is 8. That's the starting condition for the inner loop. Now we want to determine the termination condition. This will be when j is greater than or equal to m, or j is greater than or equal to 8. Now we want to trace through the loop. Looking only at the inner loop, we can see that j begins with 0 and will basically count up 8 times. When we begin, j is 0. 0 is less than 8, so it will print 1 asterisk. J gets incremented to 1. 1 is less than 8. Print another asterisk. We can see that as j increments, another asterisk is printed onto the output. So in the end, we will have 8 asterisks. Now let's put these two loops together. We know that I counts from 0 up until 5, and that for each one of those, j will go around completely and print 8 asterisks. So in the end, we will basically have 5 lines of 8 asterisks. Here it is when I becomes 1 and j increments from 0 through 8. You can see each time through the inner loop, another asterisk is added to the second row. Then I will become 2, and we have another set. Now we have 2 rows of asterisks, followed by a third row. This will continue until we have the final output that are 5 lines, each with 8 asterisks. That is the end of this worked example.